Hi, I'm Greg Whedon, and welcome to part 4 of creating game assets in 3D Coat and Lightwave. Today we're going to be adding the scarf and the gun belt, and we'll do that in the voxel room. First thing I'm going to do is switch over to the surface representation, because that opens up the surface freeze tool, which is really useful. I'm going to select an area where I want the gun belt to be, and notice I'm using the square brush. With that selected, I'm going to invert the selection by pressing Control Shift D, I believe it is. Control Shift and I. Thank God for computers, because memories don't always work. I'm going to go into the draw mode now, and I've chosen the brush that is consistent across the stroke. A different tool, and I want to make the pen fairly large, because what we want to do is just extrude that gun belt area out. And that looks like about the right thickness. What I need to do next is we'll get rid of his belly button. So to deselect or to get rid of that mask, the freeze mask, you hit Control and D. Now I'm going to hold down Shift and try to smooth out his belly button. I found the symmetry plane was kind of getting in the way, so I just went up and hit it. Now I'm going to go back to Surface Freeze, and we're going to try to create the belt for its, the belt buckle area. And I undid that. It's kind of a false attempt or a bad attempt. Symmetry's on, and I have to keep that in mind. So I'm trying again here. And that's pretty much the shape I want. This is a cartoony type character. So once again, we'll invert with Control Shift I. And pretty much do the same thing I did with the belt area, which is just try and extrude this out just a little bit using the draw tool. While this looks rough right now, it doesn't matter a lot. This character, as I mentioned several times, I'm sure, won't be seen up really up close, but I still want a decent looking cartoony gun belt. And just continuing using the smooth brush over those edges. And this is kind of a happy accident. I like the way that it's kind of skewing the buckle, and I'm definitely going to keep that. I turned symmetry off so I can try to avoid what happened last time. But once again, I get kind of a bad first attempt here. Sometimes you experiment and you try things out, and I didn't really like that, so I'll undo this. And what I want to do is hold down Control key and drag that box out, and that'll recess or take away from that square area, as you can see there. And now just for the buckle part, I'll go ahead and we'll extrude out just a little bit more across like that. And I think that's a pretty good cartoon looking buckle. So next I'm going to move on to creating the bullet holder. Once again here I'm just using the holding down Shift with the draw tool to smooth things out. Now I cleared the mask with Control D, and just having a look around to make sure it's pretty much what I wanted. Next I'm going to choose one of the pins that comes with 3D Coat, because to me it looks close enough to a bullet holder. And I'm finding I'm having to stroke over the same area a few times, which is fine, just to make it raise up just enough. We don't want these sticking way out because we're going to use a normal map to try to show those instead of modeling them individually. Every once in a while, I'll have one that looks just a little bit too far off, so I'll undo it and just create it over again. And I believe that should be enough. It's unlikely that our game player will ever see the back of the ghost, and if it does, then I don't think, looking at a few gun belts, that many of the bullets actually went all the way around the back like that. All right, so just having a look around, I'm going to come out of the surface mode and go back into the voxel mode now. And like I said there, it took a few minutes. I almost thought my computer had frozen up, but it did fortunately come back. Just be aware that when you switch those modes, it may take a few minutes. I've turned symmetry back on now, and I need to swap my brush back. I decided to use kind of a little bit more of a pinched brush on this to build up the bandana that goes around his neck. This part's just basically our drawing and then holding down shift to smooth some things out. I have the basic shape I wanted for the bandana. Now it's going to go back and tweak it up a little bit and smooth some areas. Put a few creases in for folds. Here I'm holding down control while I draw, and holding control with that build brush causes an indentation, which is what I want to kind of try and define the edge of the neckerchief or bandana, whichever you prefer. Here I'm kind of alternating between holding down control and holding down shift. Shift to smooth things out, control to make it indent. And without any keys held down, that's when we can use the build to build it back up again. And just doing kind of a quick check over here. I switched to the move brush because I just wanted to pull that down into a little bit of a point. You're going back to build, and I think I'm holding control down at this point to push the fabric down a little bit and try and give myself a little bit more of an edge there. I'll be creating the actual holster for the gun and the gun in Lightwave. I just find it a little bit easier to do there. So we're going to save it up for today, and I'm going to call it a day. Next version, what we'll be doing, in part 5, I'll be going ahead and doing the retopology on our ghost. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.